Welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at ABC in Python, and ABC is for creating abstract classes and methods, and this is all part of object-oriented programming. An abstract method is a method that's defined in a parent class, but it's not implemented, so you have to implement it in the child class. And an abstract class is a class with at least one abstract method, because in theory you can't instantiate this class because the abstract method hasn't been defined yet, and so you have to define it yourself. And then there is abstract base classes, ABC, which allows you to do all those things. First, from ABC, we're going to import ABC, ABC meta, and abstract method. And the class we're going to define is going to be a shape. And we're going to set the meta class equal to ABC meta. And initially we'll do nothing. And we will define a shape, which is a shape. And we can run that, and nothing happens. And that's because this is a pretty rubbish abstract class with no definitions. So we're going to define some abstract methods. And the first one is going to be draw. And nothing is going to happen. The next one is going to be a property. And it's going to be an abstract method. And it's going to be the area. And nothing's going to happen. And then we're going to have a class method, which is going to be called sides. And in theory, this could be, a class property, but we're just going to leave it this way for now. We're going to raise a not implemented error. And now when we run it, we see that we get this issue saying it can't instantiate because the abstract methods are area and draw, and so we'll just make sides an abstract method as well. And now it has 3 abstract methods. And the reason you might have this not implemented error is because you might decide it's not going to have this ABC meta class, and you're just going to define everything else and then let your user define a custom function that's maybe not that common. And one of the things that we want to define is this block character, which you'll see in a minute. And the alternative to setting a meta class, because it's not very common, is to just get it to inherit from ABC. And that has exactly the same effect, because the meta class of ABC is ABC meta. So now that we've got an abstract class, it might help to create a child of that abstract class. So we'll create a rectangle. And first we want to initialize it. And a rectangle, of course, has a width and a height. And so we'll set the width equal to the width and the height equal to the height. And then we'll define the draw function, and you can see here that's one of the ones we've not defined. And we're going to print height rows, and each time we print the block, and we just repeat that the width times. We need the area property, and the area of a rectangle is just the width times the height. And then the sides, which is a class method, which return 4. And if we run it, we still can't instantiate shape, but instead we can define a rect, which is a rectangle. And we'll say that the width is 5 and the height is 4. And now our program has not crashed. So we might decide to print the rectangle.sides. And you see we get 4. And we might decide to print the area, which is a property. And so we get 20. And lastly, we might decide to call rec.draw. And we get an error because here we need to specify self.height. We run it again and it prints a grid which is 5 across and 4 high. So you can see that abstract methods can be very useful, especially if you decide to give your code to someone else and you want them to do something with it, but you want to give them guidelines on what they need to do. Generally, people will redefine their own abstract classes. So you would then, for example, define all the shapes you want to use in the program, and you might have the occasional property that you just define as not being implemented and let someone else to do. Hopefully you can use abstract methods in future projects, and when you see ABC come up, you know what it means. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video, learned something, and I'll see you again, same time next week. Till then.